So we will start with Rabbi. You knew it. And by the way, we try to go with the grand sweep of time. That's why Candace led with her 35,000-year history, and why as the Baha'i faith representative, is the newest and is always at the end of the table and collecting all those extra minutes. So this will give you the grand sweep of time, which you've heard tonight. So Rabbi, since Candace spoke first, the question addressed to all of you is, when confronted with an act of violence yourself, how would you react?
I think my first reaction would be one of self-defense. I think that's kind of human. We have an obligation to preserve life, and to preserve our own life is paramount. So I guess that would be it, to protect myself.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jeff?
I think you asked us to stand, right?
Stand, right, you're supposed to stand. Thanks.
All right.
Are you happy? I'm happy. Okay.
So,
Sorry, Sandy. Poor guy. Okay.
go along, of course, self-defense. But when we mentioned, I mentioned about mastering our mind before. And we're very, we react on emotions, our impulses, whatever condition life we're in at that time, angry, greedy, whatever it is, we tend to react that way. But we have the mind of the Buddha, where we really believe how we can master our own mind, understand what the other person is going through. And again, we value the sanctity of life, so we're going to protect ourselves first. But at the same time, when violence attacks, there's a devilish root that is attacking that person, causing that person to attack us. And so the world of Buddhahood is where no matter what happens, whatever actions are opposed on us, how cause and effect is strict, meaning there's every cause that happens, there's a direct result that occurs. And so how I can reflect, again, I want to have the mind of the Buddha, and I don't want to just react on my own impulses or emotions, where honestly it would be to hit back or to respond with anger. But yeah, thank you. The 1 minute.
Yeah, that was
I don't want
good.
the ringer to come up again.
Thank you. Oh, another rule is, sorry about all these rules, but the more we clap, the less they say. So we're going to try to limit the clapping so that they can say a few more things. And so, Mujahid, how would you react?
Okay. Let me borrow from Dr. Martin Luther King's teacher, Dr. Howard Thurman, who probably learned some things from the Mahatma Gandhi when he spent some time with him in the 40s. And one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Thurman is, "Fate happens to everybody, but destiny is what you do with it." And Muhammad, the Prophet, peace be upon him, one of his sayings is that most miseries begin with overlooking the principle of patience. So patience, though, is allowed in Islam under various conditions, but one, if the patience is reflected as cowardice, then that could be a sin. So to allow for people's lives to be taken, or allow for yourself to be physically overwhelmed or anything of that nature in Islam would be not held as being anything that you would embrace as a Muslim. But it has to be defensive. That is, mine would be a reaction to an appraisal, and if we can avoid as much as we can the conflict within that, then we avoid the conflict. And so you found this out throughout Islamic history. Now let me just at least say that may not have been what you've seen in the recent past and or in the last 100 years, but certainly this is the principle that is laid down by Muhammad the Prophet, and any deviation from that would be really a deviation. We call it bid'ah. Anything moving away from what God has given to us, one, and what the Prophet has demonstrated that's legitimate, two, would be considered bid'ah, which would be innovation, which is a lot of what we see in the world today from Muslims, is more innovation and politics versus what God has given us, because God always invites us to the path of salam, to the path of peace. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, if I did something bad, maybe I deserve that beating. So, but if I did not do anything wrong or anything, one principle in life is, from the Sikh point of view, is पै काहू को देत नहे न पै मानत आन कोह नानक सुन रे मना ज्ञानी ताहे बखान. Translating, one who does not frighten anyone and one who is not afraid of anyone else, he is the spiritually wise person. You know, if you say that somebody is going to hit you and you don't defend yourself, peace will never be there. So, but as a Sikh, you should not defend only yourself, you should defend others too, who are not able to protect themselves. So, actually, the only instance that I know of in the history is that the Sikh gurus knowingly sacrificing their life so that another religion can practice their own faith without fear from a third faith. Only religion in the whole, the only instance that I am aware of. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Before you answer, Dennis, if you want to. Thank you.
Well, you know, having lived in different countries, I realized that running is a good option. So we just, you know, I don't want to take the liability of advising you to be courageous and then come back and sue me for saying that you need to be courageous. Please run. Actually, one of the things that Abdul Baha says, who was the son of Baha'u'llah, he says, I charge you all that each one of you concentrate all the thoughts of your heart on love and unity. When a thought of war comes, oppose it by a stronger thought of peace. A thought of hatred must be destroyed by a more powerful thought of love.
Thank you. Candace.
I would say the first thing we all should do is kind of surround ourselves with positive energy and discourage any negativity coming into us. But if it does, I agree with the rest of the panel. You are entitled to defend yourself and hopefully disarm the other person. If it's a verbal attack, you can normally talk people out of that. If it's a physical attack or something with a weapon, I would certainly try to disarm them.
Okay, thank you.